Hey, what's up, guys? Just want to do an update on my hydroponic ground cherry, which has absolutely taken over here. This thing is getting bigger and bigger by the day. It's using a tremendous amount of water, about 5 gallons per week, and a lot of nutrients too. Got these lanterns everywhere, which have a little green berry inside, and at some point the lanterns will drop and give you a golden berry inside that tastes like tropical fruit. That'll be cool, but in the meantime, I spent a lot of time pruning this plant, trying to restrict its growth a little bit, but to no avail. Spent a lot of time filling up the reservoir, adding nutrients, making sure everything looks good. This thing is just massive, and what's happened is that a lot of these branches have flowed out of the area where the light is, and so you can see that the leaves are getting curly on the outside leaves, which really isn't that big of a deal because there's a lot of healthy leaves in the inner areas where there is light. But every day I come in here and I pollinate what seems to be dozens of new flowers that appear. This thing just is flowering and fruiting like you wouldn't believe. I can't even count the number of these lanterns that I have. They're just everywhere. And it goes to the back here too. If we pop on over back here, just so much growth on this thing that I might actually have to pull the plug on this at some point because it's taking up so much room and using so much nutrients and so much water. Especially if I don't start getting some harvest. I've been waiting on my original ground cherry, which is, if you can see, is back in this area. And I'm waiting for that original ground cherry, the oldest one, to turn brown and give me an indication that it's going to fall off eventually, but it's been weeks and nothing has happened. So I'm wondering if this plant has to grow out completely before the ground cherries start falling, or if it can kind of do it as it's growing like a lot of other plants. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'll give this another couple of weeks and then make a decision on it. But don't try to grow a ground cherry hydroponically. It just gets too big. Way too big. Even if I had like a 5-gallon bucket and a bigger setup, this plant just cannot, this plant can't fit. All right, let's slide on over here to my, what I thought was a sun gold cherry tomato plant, but as we found out, the tomatoes didn't stop growing, and this is clearly not a cherry tomato plant. I pruned off a lot of the branches from the bottom because they weren't getting as much light and they were still kind of curly, but the leaves at the top look pretty good, and this thing is growing every day. I have to move the lights up every day. Again, this is an example of pushing the limitations of the grow space. I'm running to the end of the height of this AeroGarden, and this thing's not going to stop growing anytime soon. I might try to inhibit its growth by chopping the top, but tomato plants are insane. They'll just keep going and going and going. I just kind of wish that these tomatoes would start to ripen. I don't know if they're going to be red or brown or yellow or purple. Who knows? And I kind of feel like it's going to be a while until I get to see exactly what these tomatoes are, just because that's kind of how tomato plants work. It takes a while, but otherwise it looks healthy, right? So I'll keep it going for now until I run out of space, and or at least until the ground cherry takes over the world and takes over all the light. So look at this. We've got the ground cherry growing into the light, the tomato plant. Gonna have to separate them. Stay apart. That's it for now. Subscribe to my channel, guys. I've got a lot of cool stuff growing. I'm about to start up my outdoor growing again because I kind of had to pause because we hit a cold snap in the Northeast. But subscribe to my channel if you can, and that'd be great. Thanks, guys. See you later.